Okay, today we're at Tully Park, and we're going to be giving you a preview of this wonderful park here. It's Agnes and Dana from Natural Resources Commission in Prospect Heights, and we're here today with the two stewards who actually run this project in conjunction with us, and that's Mary Ellen Siemens and Wendy Dwars. And so we're going to introduce those two to you, and they're going to take over and give you a tour.
Hi, I am Mary Ellen Siemens.
And I'm Wendy Dwar.
And we are the local stewards of Tully Park. And we both live very close by, and we work, we're in communication a lot with the neighbors just about everything about this park, and love our partnership with the NRC as well, who has been a tremendous help in our plantings, in our clearings. And just wanted to give a little bit of a history of Tully. This has always been a park since the 50s. And at one point, about maybe 8 years ago,
It was like 2015?
2015, the Park District was going to give or sell the land to the Bridge Church, which is right over the bridge here. And the neighbors got together, we signed petitions, we got over 100 signatures of neighbors that wanted to keep this park intact. It's been a wonderful place for people with dogs, people play soccer, people come here for picnics, and we really had a great public support to save the park. And fortunately, the Park District was awesome. They listened to everyone, and we were able to save it. And we are forever grateful for that.
Yeah, we went to the Natural Resource Commission to ask them to help us with a plan to do something productive with this park, because it is landlocked. There's nowhere to park, and we wanted to naturalize it. But still keep it open for different uses. So they helped us develop a plan. We presented that to the Park District.
And then most recently, the Park District acquired a piece of property, we call it 214 Wheeling Road, which is just adjacent to us here. There you go. You might be able to see Wheeling Road through the thicket there.
Yep.
And we just felt very protective of what was going to happen there. We were sensitive to the neighbors and what they thought about that, having what was residential then turn into public property. And the Park District asked us to come up with a plan. And again, they were fantastic that they honored the plan. They're putting a lot of money into a new driveway there. They just finished planting, like, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 foot arborvitaes, a whole row of them. And our intention is to work with the NRC and have a lot of other plantings. We just talked about a work day to do 5,000 plugs soon.
Yes.
So
yeah, so the plan would be to primarily make that new area pollinator area with paths that people can walk in. So it would not have the open grass like we have here, and it would be more of a prairie type, but we wanted to focus on pollinators because that's such a necessity right now. This is the entrance to Tully Park from the Commonwealth Edison right-of-way. We have a bridge that was put in, I think maybe 30 years ago, over Camp McDonald Creek to get into the park. When we first started this park, there were no paths around it. We began planting, and we developed a long-term plan for the Park District. They'd asked us for a long-term plan. And part of our long-term plan was we need to put some paths in the plantings so that people can actually walk in and see closer up what we've put in, the different plants and things. Next step would be signage, but we're not there yet. So this is one of we did a work day with many volunteers from the neighborhood and the Natural Resource Commission. And this trail It's a double,
Can go either
double
way.
barrel. Yeah, double barrel. One goes, we have the high road, we have the low road. This will eventually be all wood chips, and we've lined it with just dead wood, different trees that we've cut down, so that the path is easily identifiable. We keep it cut so that it's easy to walk on. Eventually, when it's wood chipped, it will be much easier to walk on.
And that will also, usually what Dana from the NRC likes to do is have about 3 inches of wood chips, which should kind of keep the vegetation from growing in this on the paths.
Yes, and keep it from being muddy.
And we have some dogs, little local dogs
Yep.
that like our park.
They love our park.
Here's one here.
There's
He's Rudy.
That's Rudy. Hi, Rudy. And this is the new property that will become part of Tully Park. This is the 214 South Wheeling property. It was condemned by the MWRDGC due to flooding. And you can see that the Park District agreed
did this,
to
yeah.
put in those trees, trying to create kind of a barrier between here and the residential property. And where you can see the large piles of gravel, that's going to be a circular driveway with a geotextile cover, much like the one at the Isaac Walton Park on Route 83. And the purpose of that is to allow the Park District mowing vehicles to come in, be able to turn around. They'll be able to bring their mowing equipment through here and into Tully Park to mow the center area, whereas previously they've had to cross the bridge. So eventually, this area is not planned to be something that would need to be mowed, because it is going to be naturalized with pollinator plants and grasses and things. So the mowing would be only occurring in that area where a lot of, in the summertime, many soccer games occur on the weekends, evenings. We have a lot of people who enjoy playing soccer, and we really have no plan to stop that. We don't want to encroach on the soccer field. Once we were able to access this property, we decided we needed a way to create a barrier between the field and the road, because we do have the dogs, we have children that come and play, and we wanted to get rid of, you can see all the vines and the buckthorn right there. We want that to be gone. And so we were able to, we promoted a, I guess we call it a memorial tree project. So people could purchase, they are wild white plum trees from a grower. We were able to purchase 50 trees. So we've planted them along here and in this area right here. And basically once they become established, people can, if they would like, come out and put a memorial stone
Plaque
or whatever
or
for
something.
their pet or family member or whatever they want to do. So these at some point will become, they'll be maybe 15 feet tall. They will spread, so they will create a good barrier between the two properties. And we made sure that we were not right underneath the overhead wires so that they wouldn't get trimmed. So we're anxiously awaiting their
growth.
Their growth, yeah, and they're spreading out. So we continued our trail. We worked one day, I think, for probably about 8 hours.
Yeah.
So we created a trail over there, and here
It is, yeah.
is our other. So this is also our pollinator area when this is grown again.
These plants are way above
Yes.
us.
Yes, usually.
It's like you're
yes.
walking through a maze.
And they're mostly flowering, so they're pollinators. The reason you don't see any plants now is the Natural Resource Commission usually in the spring or late winter, they will do a controlled burn. And what that does is that clears out all the things, the dead stalks and things that are laying around, and allows the sun, the rain to get to all the plants and the new growth.
And we hope that you'll come back and see this in the summer.
Yes.
Because what we found too is we have these beautiful plants. This area has been planted kind of section by section and gone farther into the park. And we had all these beautiful plants back here that we couldn't see.
Yes.
So the path now, it's like you see so many beautiful plants, and they are just enveloping you because they're a foot taller than I am.
Yeah, you can kind of see there's a line. You can see the line of this row of plants right here. That's it. They will be eventually purple spiderwort, so they will have big purple flowers. The other ones are just a kind of a hodgepodge of other different pollinators that should be blooming by early July, usually early July. We had an Eagle Scout a couple of years ago approach us and ask if we had any ideas for a project. And part of the plan that we submitted to the Park District included establishing something we called a meditation garden. So he took on the project of establishing our meditation garden. He built the bench. He cleared this area, then proceeded to mulch it. He cleared
a lot of it. This was even all back there was buckthorn, and that's been planted with some wild plums. Even though we kind of just have it, that the garden is really here just for privacy for the neighbors. Our neighbor there, just wanted some privacy from his. So this all gets very thick, and but this is, I can't wait for you to see it in the thick of the summer because it's so beautiful and it's very cozy.
Yes.
And people just come in here and enjoy the bench, and it's a very comfortable bench actually.
Yeah, our Eagle Scout worked with the Natural Resource Commission to design what plants would be best. So you can see they're coming up right now, some grasses that come around, and then one of the prime features is it's called cardinal plant. So the flowers are bright red. They're absolutely beautiful, and they will be pretty much behind the bench. So it just lends it's very peaceful, colorful area to just come and sit. And I don't know. Can you see the sunset from here? Is that no?
No, but
wrong direction.
you can still see a beautiful sky.
This is
and
true.
I'm really lucky because I live right there, so I can come out here a lot, and I love that area. And Wendy has 2 little grandkids that have grown up here, and they learned to sit, I think, on that bench.
Yeah, that's true. They come in, they know the path. So last fall, we carried out another part of our overall plan for Tully Park, and that was to expand this side of the pollinator plants a little bit more, because the soccer mainly takes place out in the center. So we wanted to expand this a bit out from the residences. So the Natural Resource Commission, they come out and they herbicide the turf grass so that we could then, right now this is just seeded. So we have seeded it with plants that we gather in the fall. And the way we've set this up is to have low grasses in the front, which will be little blue stem in the front, and then behind those grasses will be the taller flowering plants. So it has a little bit more of a cultivated look to it, but it is all native plants. The flags are so that when the Park District mows, they don't mow our plants. So the way we do this, we typically don't plant everything. That was a combination of seed, and we call them plugs. So once we see what comes up in here, we'll work with the Natural Resource Commission. They will give us little seedlings in little dirt, cups of dirt, and then we will decide where do we need to plant those, where do we need to supplement what's come up from seed with already established plants. So this should be a very nice addition to our pollinator area. We have found, we've been kind of keeping track of bees and butterflies and things. We probably do need to start counting at some point, but we've had a lot more monarch butterflies. We get quite a few in that area back there when it's grown. and hopefully we'll have more here. We lost a couple trees in here, so that's another reason that we expanded this, because it's not in shade anymore. So with the trees removed, we should have some better coverage here of our pollinators.
We extended some more trails over there. So really, kids can run, and people can walk around pretty much, like a horseshoe part of the park. We just kept it, didn't do anything by those two homes over there.
Yeah. The park district was very kind when they got new benches for the park buildings. They donated their old benches to us, which the people that come for the soccer games, they really love that. Our dog people as well. You can see we kind of have a old metal furniture out here that was also donated by one of the neighbors. And that's one of the wonderful things about this park is it has brought the neighbors together. They volunteer, what can I do to help? Oh, I have this, and people bringing their dogs. We've met some of the neighbors that we hadn't met before. People are starting to come actually from farther away and bringing their dogs here. While it's not a dog park, it's it's kind of an impromptu dog park, which is great.
Nice place for people to gather, really, the neighbors to get together.
Yes. What else? Let's see. We had a few trees planted. The park district planted a few trees in here last summer. Last summer. So they've not really had a chance to mature, so we're not sure how they're going to look.
And if they survived the cicadas.
Yeah, we're not sure yet, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. That area back there with the trees, that's a difficult place to try to get any kind of pollinators in there. So what we have been trying to grow in there are woodland grasses. We do have a fair number of elderberry bushes in there. So if anyone likes to make elderberry jam, late summer is a great time to come gather some elderberry berries and make your own jam. We've got, what else have we got in there? Joe pieweed, something called
tall or yellow, kind of. They're in the sunflower family.
Yes, something called bone set, which is white, and it's very prolific. It will grow almost anywhere, and it grows pretty well in the shade. But we're really trying to establish the woodland grasses in there to keep the buckthorn from coming back, because that's the ultimate goal for this park, is to try to get rid of as much buckthorn as we can. And you can see we have a burn pile over here, and people, if they're here and they're walking around and they see a branch broken or something, they just gather it up and put it on the pile.
We had some chainsaw experts make some benches over to your right.
Yeah, we have.
Last time we had a group here. And one of the things too about getting rid of that buckthorn is with the creek, the buckthorn secretes an acid that's very hard for the little amphibians to live. So we've seen just some more activity in the creeks, which has been nice. And on the other side of that creek, that has all been planted as well by the volunteers in the NRC.
So once it's grown up, as you walk in along that way, there's a lot of pollinators and grasses. We have so this area, when this area was built, they kind of used this vacant park as a construction debris dump. So in there we decided, well, we got some concrete and we got some stuff, and we can't pick it up, we can't get it out, it's really in there. So we had a young volunteer, I think he was in 3rd grade when he did this. He made an animal habitat. It's kind of a teepee. It needs a bit of repair, but he came up with the design himself. Mm-hmm. He directed all the adults to construct it, and ended up with a pretty nice habitat. And we will be fixing that up. We try to use any dead trees, trees we cut down, any limbs that come down, we call them snags. We try to use those rather than burn them. As you can see, that's pretty much how we've lined everything. But we use them to restore the habitats for the animals.
That is Tully Park.
That is Tully
It's
Park.
a place we love.
Yep. Because this dogwood it's a native plant, and I don't think it flowers, but it is also the birds really like it, and it's good for the soil. So we keep that. We have this one, and then we have one that's over there on the other side. So we keep this thicket of dogwood here.
We have rabbits, we have coyote, we have hawks, and just a plethora of birds.
And we have
here.
seen the eagle.
Yes,
circling.
we have. Yep.
So
Yep. Turtles from the creek.
yes, they've come back. Turtles have come back. Yeah, that's
Frogs.
yeah. The frogs have come back. We do usually have quite a few mallard ducks right around here. They like to. The entrance to the creek will flood. That grass area will flood. The ducks
Oh,
like.
here's a duck right there.
Oh,
There's a mallard
Yeah,
right
he
there.
goes. There he goes. I was
Oh
gonna
my
say-
gosh. You called him
I
in,
called him.
Wendy.
Well, I was going to say, why are there no ducks in the creek?
Oh my gosh.
They'll
that's
come
great.
out, and if you're walking over and it's flooded, you'll find the ducks playing in the puddles there. But typically, you can find. I've counted as many as nine males and one female
Poor thing.
in the creek. But I mean, they tend to stay right around here because this part of it has been restored, basically. When they built this neighborhood, they had a different plan, I think, for the roads. And the way the road ended up, I believe there was supposed to be a street that went through here so that then a home would have been built here. But then that is not how the streets ended up. So this just ended up being a big landlocked field.
And actually, the developer of this whole neighborhood built that house, lived there, and he owned this property.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh, I didn't
he
know that.
wanted, his goal was to not have this built on.
And we have very cooperative neighbors. They come out, they help.
Yeah, our neighbors are
Yeah.
great.
Phase, now that we have the paths in, is to go along and see what's along the paths. Then we'll get with the Natural Resource Commission to confirm that we have the right. I have an app for that, but it's not always correct. Confirm that we have the right plant, and then we'll work with them to create signage. They have signage already over by Gary Morava. We're looking for the same kind of thing, so that as people walk along, they can say, "Oh, that's what that is." You know, common name. We can put the Latin name too, but definitely want the common names because we do have quite a few different things that we either planted or came back because this was, a natural area. So that's our next plan.